I'm Jess Echeverry, and I'm the executive director and founder of SOFESA, which is a 501c3 nonprofit that serves the homeless and low-income families in Los Angeles. SOFESA's mission is ultimately to eliminate survival mode in homeless and low-income families. We want to help bring them out of that survival moment and help them to experience something different, something new. When you're in homelessness, and this is, my own personal experience, you're in what's called survival mode. You're not thinking about what people who are housed normally think about first. You're thinking about your safety, you're thinking about your environment around you, you're thinking about what you're gonna eat. If you have kids or pets, you're concerned about their care, but not in a way that a housed person is concerned or thinks about those. It's a very reactive and traumatic type of response to the situation that you're living in. So there's no room for extra thought, there's no room for processing, and there's no room for healing or creativity. I began SOFESA in 1999 by baking some cookies and making some sandwiches and gathering some old pairs of socks in my drawer and going out to the parks and interacting and creating relationships with the homeless that I found there. I did that because earlier in my life, I found myself not just homeless, but pregnant. I was 16, I was pregnant, and I had nowhere to go. I ended up being homeless for almost 4 years, on and off, and living on the streets and experiencing what the streets have to offer. It was a severely traumatic experience for me. In my early 20s, I met my husband, who created a healthy and loving relationship environment with me. I realized in this relationship with my husband that I needed to recover and heal from my earlier experiences, especially during my time being homeless. I felt this call to go out to the streets and to become friends, really, because I knew how it felt to be there. After a few months and a few conversations with friends, I started getting more and more people interested in helping me. And so that's how SOFESA, which was originally Sore Feet Saviors, started. We encountered the homeless. We went to parks and roads and underpasses and just passed out food, socks, toiletries, and just had conversations, learned names, and created relationships with the homeless. Studies have found that when someone has a healthy relationship, at least one, then they tend to be more open to things that are outside of what their normal circumstances are, and are able to open their minds and their hearts and their learning to things that are different. I keep coming back to saying things that are different because things that are different is key to breaking the cycle of poverty and homelessness. In 2006, we were in the emergency room and we encountered a homeless mother and her 9-month-old child. The doctor who came in to treat them ended up throwing them out of the hospital. We ended up helping the mom and her 9-month-old, and we ended up learning through that relationship with her that there was a whole slew of children and families who were homeless and who needed resources and help. We changed our mission to helping families come out of survival mode, even if just for a moment. We create events that help the children feel like normal children. One Life LA has been an amazing experience. It has really helped us as an organization be able to provide for our families in a way that we were previously constantly struggling to do. And we're very grateful for the One Life LA grant, but we're most especially grateful for the people who have reached out to us because of One Life LA, who have encountered SOFESA and want to help. Earlier this year, we were able to interview all of our families and kind of find out what types of obstacles they were facing financially. And from that information, we were able to offer obstacle grants. So our families would apply for a particular bill or financial hardship that they had, We had one family who wanted just a reprieve on their car payment for a couple months, right? Just to give them a little break. And we had another family whose refrigerator was broken and they were living out of coolers in the house. So they needed a new refrigerator. So these types of obstacles that are in our families' lives, we had an opportunity to eliminate for them. So that's just one example of something great that we did for our families this year, was our obstacle grants. The One Life LA grant helped us supplement our obstacle grants. For instance, the one family who had a car payment, it was $400 a month. We looked at how much was due to pay the car off in full so that she owned it, and it was only a couple $1,000s. So if her car payment's $400 and she's asking for $1,200 to pay it just for 3 months, we're looking at that and going, let's just pay this car off, eliminate this monthly expense from this family's budget, and remove that obstacle from them. So the One Life LA grant helped supplement our obstacle grants. We're able to do a lot more emergency outreach. Emergency outreach is encountering families who are on the streets, who are in desperate need of immediate shelter. So we were able to use the funds to put families up in motels and hotels, pay cell phone bills, to give them emergency food, emergency car repairs. Our emergency outreach program benefited a lot from the grant. We didn't have to shut it down this year. And then we do hold an annual Christmas of Hope celebration for our families, where we give them just an amazing experience for Christmas. Obviously, the pandemic changed that this year. We weren't able to have a party with all of our families under one roof. But we did manage to gather Santa bags for them and fill them with grocery gift cards, retail store gift cards, gas gift cards, gingerbread houses, stuffed Christmas stockings, PPE equipment for the family, masks and hand sanitizers. And then we met, each family had their own appointment, and we met family by family, one at a time, to distribute that. And the One Life LA grant helped, again, fill in the supplemental expenses we needed in order to do that for our families. During 2020, we received a lot of inbox messages from people, enough to really get our attention. And the number one question that we got was, how do I engage with my homeless neighbor that I'm noticing? And I think that's a big question for a lot of people, is how do I engage with the person that I see that's in need? And they're reaching out because they want to, even though, you know, we have stay-at-home orders and we go out for our essential things, they still see the homeless, they still encounter the homeless, and they still want to do something. And so the limitations on being able to just get up and go volunteer somewhere have really created this desire in people to reach out to us in particular and say, how can I do this on my own? What we see for 2021 is creating these types of sessions, virtual seminars, where we can begin to introduce people to what that looks like. You can learn more about SOFESA by visiting www.sofesa.org or visiting any of our social media accounts, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. We're there.